So I've got 5 questions here today from people on my Instagram who wanted to know some information about the courier industry and they had some specific questions that they wanted to ask. I asked people, what are the main things you're struggling with and what questions do you want me to cover to give you an insight and information about areas that you might not be quite as confident in as you want to be. So I've got 5 messages here. Without further ado, let's get into this. Episode 2 of our Q&A as to how to become a courier. And I'm going to break it down without further ado. Let's get into the first question. So we got Ben Johnson 10 here, who asked me, how fast can you start making £200 to £300 a day as a courier? Great question. And the answer to this question is fairly quickly, to be honest. You could do this as a subcontractor. You don't even need your own customers to go out there and start making £200, £300 a day. There's platforms like the CX you could do this on, reaching out to companies directly and getting on their books as a subcontractor is another way to do it. But there's a lot of ways to do this. And it's very, very easy to do. I mean, you could even do this in a car. When I first started, I was driving around in my car, done £250 on my first day. So there's no reason that you can't make £200, £300 a day in a van. Maybe not so much on the weekends. On like a Sunday, it's a little bit more quiet. But Monday to Friday, even Saturdays, easily doable, easily achievable. It's just about going out there, making sure you're set up correctly. You got your van, you got your insurance. You're ready to get going and get the ball rolling. And then from there, getting a few customers, subcontractor work, so on and so forth. And then from there, you could easily be doing £200, £300 a day. Easy, obviously, you have to take off your fuel and so on and so forth with that. But that will leave you with around about £200, £250 profit per day, which is, £1,000 a week, £4,000 a month. Not bad money at all. So you could do that fairly quickly, especially being a subcontractor. If you've got your own customers, even easier. You could do one job with your own direct customers and make that kind of money. So yeah, Ben, hopefully that answers your question fairly quickly. You can do that down the subcontractor route or with your own direct customers. So next question we got here is from Mantis1. And he said, if I wanted to do this alongside my 9 to 5, is this possible? Definitely, this is possible. You could do this in a car or van, like I previously mentioned. But when I actually first got started, I was in my car and I was doing evenings and weekends in my car, going around doing deliveries. So I actually had a job driving a van during the day. So I'd start at 7:30 in the morning. By the time I'd done the van checks and everything, I left 8:30. So I'd drive for a few hours there. I'd finish by 1:30 in the afternoon. Then from there, I'd go home, have a shower, and by 3:00, I was back out on the road in my car, and I'd do 3:00 until maybe 10:00 in the evening, 9:00, 10:00, 11:00 in the evening, depending. And I was actually making more money in the evenings and the weekends than I was in my day job. So that's actually why I decided to go full-time in this business. I quit that job, my day job, and then went full-time because of the fact that I was making more money doing that. There's companies like Deliveroo, Just Eat, Uber Eats, things like this that people do in the evenings. This is the exact same, except it pays a lot more. You're going to get paid a lot more for delivering an urgent, direct engineering pallet than you would just delivering someone's takeaway for the evening, So you can definitely do this. You can fit it around your 9 to 5. If you're doing 3 days a week, you could do the other 2 as a delivery driver. If you're, working Monday to Friday, maybe you want to do the evenings and have the weekends off. Or if you're doing Monday to Friday and you decide, actually, I want something to do on the weekends, you can do that as well. So you can definitely do this alongside your 9 to 5. That's the advantage of the courier industry and, delivery work in general. A lot of it is as and when you want to work. You can go in and take the work. Once you start to scale it and build it and get your own customers, you kind of need to be a full-time business. I'll be completely honest. Because the last thing you want to do is go out there, get your own customers, and then them ring you up on a Monday afternoon saying, I need a delivery this afternoon. You say, oh, sorry, I can't do that. I'm at my other job, my day job as an employee. It's not really a good look, and you would probably lose customers that way. But in terms of, logging on to maybe an app, working as a subcontractor for another company as and when they need you or as and when you want to work, you can definitely do that and fit that around your job. Not a problem at all. So the third question we've got here is from Michael Kitchen. And he says, when starting, how much should you keep in reserves for unforeseen circumstances? I'm assuming you're talking about money in the business. And this right here is a great question. Not a lot of people ask this, and not a lot of people actually think about this until it comes to the point they're low on cash, they need a bit of money, and they think, oh no, I didn't leave any money in the account. What am I going to do? So it's better to plan ahead. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. There's a saying I once heard: prior planning and preparation prevents piss poor performance, and it's very, very true. So if you plan in advance, you're gonna prevent a cock up later down the line. So how much would you need in cash reserves in the business? So to get started up, you're gonna need a little bit of capital there to get your van, get your insurance, cover your first little bit of fuel and so on and so forth. But if you're talking about how much once you've got everything set up, I'm going to answer it, based on assuming that you're already set up, you've already got your van, you've already got all of this. I'm not going to talk about startup fees. I'm going to talk about running operational costs and then cash reserves. So I would keep personally per vehicle, if it's your only vehicle, I would keep around the £1,800 mark in the bank that you don't touch. If that's just if it's you and your van, that's bare minimum. I would probably aim for £2,500 that you just keep in the account, because let's say you have a problem with the vehicle and you need to spend £1,500 on repairs. If you've only got 1,800 there, that only leaves you with £300 left. So £2,500, I think, is a nice number. Is what I aim for. And then what I look for as well after that, so £2,500 for your first vehicle, and then every vehicle on top of that, you could probably do somewhere between £1,000 to £2,000. So if you've got 5 vehicles, you're going to have the £2,500 for the first vehicle, plus £1,000 for the other 4 vehicles, which is going to take you to, if my maths is correct, £6,500 that you would keep there cash, which is going to cover any maintenance repairs, any servicing, a new set of tires, brake pads, anything like that you need. And you could even sometimes, if you've got a quiet month, you can dip into this cash to cover things like your fuel bill, to cover employee wages, to cover even just paying yourself if you have a quiet month. You've always got that cash there, so that's a good reserve number, which I would look at. So just to summarize, I'd aim for £2,500 for if it's your first van, and then every van after that, somewhere between £1,000 to £2,000 per vehicle. The bare minimum, I would say 1,500, 1,800 bare minimum that you want to keep as like a float, essentially, as your cash reserve. And then, the more vans you get, you're not going to need to maintain every single van every month. So, the number does kind of decrease the more vans you get. But if it's your one and only van, you don't want that to break. So you need to make sure you've got a nice little bit of capital there, which is why, I would suggest them kind of figures there. Next question from Mr. D. Main. And he asks, what type of insurance do you need and anything else? Right. Let's get into the insurance first. So what insurance do you need when getting started up as a courier? There's 3 main insurances that you're going to need. The first one is public liability. This is going to insure the public. What this means is, let's say you're carrying a box into a hospital and it's 15 kilo and you drop it on an old lady's foot and now she's injured and you've broke her ankle. If she takes you to court, you could go out of business. Whereas if you have public liability insurance, your public liability insurance is going to cover any legal costs of that. So it basically insures the public, and also it is a legal requirement for most businesses to have this to protect the public. That's insurance number 1, public liability. The second insurance you're going to need is goods in transit insurance. Goods in transit is essentially going to cover the goods that you're carrying on board. So what this means is, let's say I've got 5 laptops in the back of my van. I have to hit the brakes really hard. The laptops go flying and one of them breaks and the screen cracks and the company says to me, you need to buy us a new laptop. You broke the laptop while you were delivering it. So obviously I'm not going to pay for that out of my own pocket. That's why I've got the goods in transit insurance there in place to cover the costs and the damages of that. And they will deal with all of that for me. And that's basically what it does. It covers the goods that you're carrying on board during transit, hence the name goods in transit. It's going to insure the goods while they are in transit, kind of in the name. The last insurance that you're going to need is hire and reward. What hire and reward insurance is is insurance on your vehicle, which is going to cover you to basically get paid to complete deliveries. It's similar insurance to what taxi drivers have, but you want hire and reward for the carriage of goods, not hire and reward for the carriage of people. The carriage of people is, not delivering people, but essentially being a taxi driver, taking person from point A to point B and getting paid to transport people. Hire and reward for the carriage of goods is you're going to collect 5 boxes, deliver them to the destination, and get paid to do that. So you're delivering goods, not people, and that's going to insure your vehicle to do that. You don't need to take out fully comp or any other insurance. That's going to have everything included in it, whether you use it for personal use, this, that, blah, 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 blah. That's all going to be included in your hire and reward insurance. This one is probably the most expensive of them all. But within our training program, we actually have a database that we give you where we've got the brokers that we work with for hire and reward, goods in transit, and public liability, and they all have guaranteed cheapest prices in the UK. So if you guys are struggling to find cheap insurance, you can give us a shout, get access to the database of the brokers that we work with, and we can definitely help you get some cheaper insurance with that. So that's the 3 insurances that you'd need: goods in transit, hire and reward, and public liability. They're the 3 that you're going to need to get started. There are some optional extra insurances that you might want to take out, but I'm not going to go into that today, as obviously the question was about the insurances that you need, not what optional insurances could I also have. So that's it for insurances that you need. Anything else, there's a lot of other things I could cover, i.e. van, equipment, softwares that you might use for bookkeeping, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of stuff. We don't have time to go in this all today. However, this does actually bring me on to the last question here from Roland Roy, who asks me, does the £96 cheat sheet come with the subcontractor database? So, first of all, it's not £96, it's £95 and 95p. But I suppose we can round that up to £96. Does it come with the subcontractor database? No, it doesn't. But what is included in the cheat sheet is basically an A to Z guide on everything you would need to get started and to get set up and to get the ball rolling. You've got pages and pages of information on there. However, the subcontractor database that you mentioned is only available with our training program, with our full mentorship program, where we give you a list of 55 companies who are looking for drivers right now. We go through how to get set up, how to run your business, how to scale it. We give you one-on-one support from myself. You get access to our group chat. You get our broker database, like I mentioned, where you can get the cheap insurances, and loads of other stuff in there as well. We tell you top industries to target. We give you a breakdown on pricing, all of that within our full mentorship program. And then within our cheat sheet, it's a PDF with enough information to go in there and get started. But if you're really looking to grow and scale and build a big, massive courier business and make as much money as possible, I'm talking 5, 10, 15, 20,000 pound a month, then that's where you want to go for the full mentorship program. If you're looking just to maybe make a little bit of money on the side on the evenings and weekends, or you just want to know how to get started and you're going to worry about the rest later, then I would go for the cheat sheet, which is £95.95, as Roland Roy previously explained. So no, to answer your question, our £96 cheat sheet does not come with a subcontractor database. That's only available in our full mentorship program. But again, we have a 90-day money-back guarantee on there. So if you go in there and we don't help you get any work with the subcontractor database, you can get a full refund. So that was it for this week, guys. That's the 5 questions that I've got. If you guys got any more questions that you want answered, you can drop them in the comments on this video, pop something in my Telegram, or I may post again on my Instagram story asking you guys to ask me some questions so I can answer them to the best of my ability. But take care, guys. Hopefully that answers all your questions for today. That's the 5 questions I picked. Get started with your courier business. Don't wait about. Let's get the ball rolling. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Take care.